7:34 EDA is now in session. Call to order. We have an approval of an agenda. We all in favor say aye.
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 Motion.
We have a chance to read it?
Motion.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Yeah, a second.
All in favor? We did that already?
We did that right.
All opposed? Okay. Motion approved. Approval of minutes. Did anybody go through the last the 17th?
I move we approve the minutes of the January 17th meeting.
All in favor?
Second.
All opposed?
Who's the second?
Take it, Dave.
Yeah, we need a second.
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 I did second. Oh, second. You got it.
David's got a second? Okay. Yep.
Elevate business and information session presented by Tashi.
Yeah. Yeah. Good morning, EDA chair and members of the EDA. We have this morning two individuals from Hennepin County with us. Tashi may or may not show up, but we do have Mary. And we can see that Tashi must be running in because it feels like truly a Monday morning today, especially with the impending weather. So we'll have them present a little Hennepin County information, elevate business stuff, and then they'll be able to answer any questions that we may have. This is a similar system for us to be able to help out businesses with different types of, resources that they can utilize through Hennepin County. Very similar to what we had with the deed process. Deed is more for us of how we can help businesses. This one was more, what can we give to businesses to help themselves, basically, to be able to use resources through Hennepin County. Yep, it'd be great if you came up here, Mary. And then as soon as Tasha gets here, you can do the old swap.
Sorry for calling you Tasha. I was just zoning out here because my dollar's on the line.
No,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yep, this is Mary.
So hi, good morning. Thank you so much for having me. My name's Mary Mates. I'm from Hennepin County. I manage a suite of business support programs that are delivered to Hennepin County business owners and are offered from people who are just thinking about starting a business all the way up to established business owners that are independent and have companies up to between $1 million and $50 million in revenue. So we hope that what we're offering is there's something for everyone. So Elevate Business is a program that we initiated coming out of the pandemic. And recently, just last week, we rebranded to Elevate Hennepin. So we have a new slide show that I emailed to Zach on Friday, and we'll get that out to you. So Elevate Hennepin is an opportunity that came out of the pandemic. As you all know, during the pandemic, we saw really a lot of disruption in the marketplace for small business owners. Small business owners had to really pivot to respond to the new marketplace conditions, pivot to online delivery. And we also saw a varying range of ability to really engage in kind of what we call the back of house needs that a business has, so accounting, marketing, understanding their books. And we brought together a group of business leaders throughout Hennepin County to help us guide
You're fine. I'm going to pull up your new.
Yeah, so during the pandemic, we brought together a group of business leaders to help us guide kind of like how we might support business owners. We did a lot of small business relief grants, which we know is not sustainable long term. And the recommendation that came out was that businesses really need support. They don't go into business if they're a restaurateur. They don't go into business to become an accountant, but that's such a necessary need. So Elevate Business is there to respond.
Hold on, give me 1 second. I'm going to pull up your Elevate Hennepin.
There we go. Oh, great. There we go. There it is.
We are.
All right, great. So that it is services. Here we go. Whew, all right. So what we did is, in addition to the small business owners needing that back of house service provision, what we also found was that business owners didn't necessarily know where to go during the pandemic. There were agencies from federal, state, county, city, all offering different opportunities. So we needed one place where we could direct business owners to go to find these different resources. So Elevate Hennepin is a curated hub that brings together small business events offered through SCORE, through the Small Business Administration, through the service providers that we contract with, and multiple agencies, all at elevatehennepin.org. All of these opportunities are only available right now for Hennepin County businesses, though we do bring the resources together from DEED and SBA, so those are available throughout the state and throughout the country. We contract with over 20 business advisors right now to provide one-on-one technical assistance. Through the platform, we offer events and classes, opportunities for business owners to engage with their peers, and personal business navigation. And Tashi, who would typically be giving this presentation, schedules 15-minute consults with business owners because there are a lot of resources that are available to business owners. It's not necessarily apparent which one you should go to first, who's going to be a good fit for your business, depending on the type of business you have. So Tashi will do a 15-minute intake. You can just go to her calendar and schedule a 15-minute call with her, and she'll try to connect you with the right business advisor, which we pay for. We pay for professional advisors, or the right lending opportunity, or the right class. So there's a person there to help guide a business owner to the right place. And if we can connect to the internet, I'll show you the internet resources later in the presentation. So like I said, we offer resources no matter where you're at in your business. So the Elevate Hennepin Resource Hub, which is what I just talked about, we bring all those resources together in one place on our website and make it easily searchable. And we pay for one-on-one technical assistance, and we'll talk about the different types of technical assistance later in the presentation. We also offer cohort opportunities, so you can get together with your peers and have kind of classroom-based instruction, all the way up to CEO Now, which is for early growth companies. We just launched that program this year. That is a mini, like to call it a mini MBA program, where if you're a growth-oriented business, maybe you have 1 or 2 employees, and you really need those business fundamentals, you can go and work with this cohort-based opportunity and learn those business fundamentals. And then we find at the kind of top of that, we offer CEO Next Business Institute, where we bring together CEOs. It's a regional program, so we partner with Dakota, Scott, Ramsey counties, and Carver County to deliver this kind of higher level, peer-oriented opportunity for growth-oriented businesses that want to grow to regional and national markets, and that's for those business owners that have more than 10 employees and over $1 million in revenue. So we hope that there's something for everyone across the spectrum, whether you're just starting out or you're already established. Let's see. So the service focus that we have for the one-on-one advisors that we contract with, really helping people get their business plans put together. And business planning isn't just for someone who's starting out a business. Our advisors also help people put together strategic plans. So if you're ready to make a new step in your business, you can work with an advisor to kind of help you identify what those opportunities might look like in the next phase of your business. We also contract with attorneys, so people that need to get papers put together to get their legal incorporation. If they're having an issue with their landlord and they need someone to kind of review a lease or a contract, we have really great attorneys that will help someone do that. We've also had construction contractors have our attorneys kind of take a look at, like, I'm entering into this agreement, what are my obligations and responsibilities, just helping people understand the legal agreements that they're entering into. Our attorneys don't do litigation, but they will help kind of go through that paperwork part of it, help people understand their contracts, help them put contracts together, and really get their bases covered in that space. The third kind of specialty area that we really focus on with our advisors is financial management and projecting. Our advisors that we work with will help business owners get their arms around their books. We really saw, we did small business relief grants through the county. We worked with CDFIs, or community-based development finance institutions, which are community-based banks. And what we found was that people, long time, really established, successful businesses had papers everywhere, and they didn't have their accounts in order. They didn't know what their next step was in terms of like how much money they were actually pulling in. And so we just saw a real need in the marketplace for people to kind of go and help someone just understand what was happening on the finance side of their business. So business owners can go and work with an advisor to really get their arms around what's happening. Okay, the third focus area, it's a really important one, is lending and preparing to access capital. You can't grow unless you have money. And part of that is being bankable, being able to go into a bank, get a loan, and have your finances put together, and being able to work with a lender that can advocate for you and really understand you as a business owner, the whole business owner. So we work with those community-based lenders that can go in as a first lending partner, and then go leverage capital with some of the bigger banks like U.S. Bank and Wells Fargo and that kind of thing. So we work with our community-based banks. They're in our platform, and they'll, in addition to kind of helping you get bankable, they'll be there to provide some of those wraparound resources to really stabilize the business. Okay, the fifth part, which everybody loves, and it's where business owners often want to start first, is marketing. So we actually contract with established communications and marketing firms. Business owners that have accessed this service are getting websites built. They're getting training in social media, how to use social media to leverage sales. They're getting graphics done for their business, so brands and logos developed. So we work with communications firms, and they can go and access all of those for free. These consulting costs are paid for Hennepin County. They're free to the business owners. They are not free. But business owners can receive up to 25 hours per advisor. So we have 20 advisors and counting. We're currently procuring for additional advisory services and human resources, helping people set up computers and software in their businesses, helping them get certified to contract with government agencies. So that's an open RFP. So really the number of hours a business can receive is kind of unlimited. It is limited per advisor, but even if they need more than 25 hours, they can make a special request to keep working with that particular advisor based on their circumstances. But what we have found in the last few years is that business owners don't really need much more beyond 25 hours. It's really to help a business owner get to the next step, to teach them how to incorporate good, sound business principles into their business to stabilize, or if they like, grow. So let's see. The advisors we work with, like I said, they are both for-profit and nonprofit advisors. So we work with a really wide range of advisors who are working as in the private sector as paid consultants, and also working as with organizations that are mission-driven. We have business advisors that speak languages. I think we have over 10 languages spoken, and as the bullet says, it's practical and professional business advisory services, which I hope I've already explained to you, so I don't need to spend much time on that point. We have over 1,100 businesses that have accessed this technical assistance. I think actually this number is larger since we've done this slide. More than 1,600 have registered, and I think actually our most recent count on our newsletter list is 2,300 business owners that we're sending regular communications to, which is really incredible to have that number of people really be interested. And what we're hearing really is that more and more business owners are starting to recognize Elevate Hennepin as a resource they can turn to when they need support to get their business to the next step. All right, so we have a testimonial. Basically, it says this is an awesome opportunity and business owners should use it. So, how much time do we have, Zach?
Sure.
Yes.
I don't even know. 5, 10. Yeah,
Hey,
5,
Tashi.
5, 10
Everyone
more
say
minutes.
hi to Tashi. Tashi's our small business
Welcome.
resource navigator. She is, like I said, just really awesome. If she was giving this presentation, you would be sold in a heartbeat on the products because she's so good, and she's a small business owner herself. And has recently launched a beverage in the marketplace, and really understands the needs that small business owners have, and she's just a really great resource. And so, I'm going to go to Elevate Hennepin. Oh,
Yeah, you're already on the internet.
I'm already on the internet. Great. Elevate Hennepin. We just rolled this website out last week. So if you go on and you see anything that looks odd, let us know, because we're still working out the bumps in the road. So a business owner can go on Elevate Hennepin. They can, I can scroll it down first. They can connect with an advisor. They can connect with events. And they can connect with all the resources that are offered throughout the state and the region. So the advisors that Hennepin County contracts with are all at the top of this page right here. When you click on that, it automatically selects advisors and consultants. I'm going to select Hennepin County over here. And then I'm going to select construction sector. So right now we rolled out an opportunity for our construction contractors to access one-on-one specialized construction advising. And they can either, if they don't know who they want to go to, they can go to this tile and just submit a form. We're working with a company called Next Stage. Next Stage will do kind of an initial intake, and they'll say, okay, based on what you've told me, well, I think you need to work with Mackey Company and Virotech, and they'll put together kind of a team for that advisor. They could. We also have a construction intensive series it's a cohort series that has different classes on different opportunities. This one is job costing and estimating. How do you schedule your construction project? Developing a safety plan, that kind of thing. So it's really easy, we hope. We've tried to make it better. We had an older website that wasn't working as well, but we really hope it's easy to navigate these different opportunities on this new website based on where you're located and where the resource and the area that the resource serves. So let's see. Let's do Hennepin County and do a cohort learning and networking. And there's the CEO Next and CEO Now opportunities that I talked about earlier. So you can go and kind of just take a look at, what is this opportunity? And I really want to learn more. So I'm going to connect. Let's see. Let's do the construction advising. I'm going to go ahead and apply for the opportunity. And I can go and fill out a form. I'm not going to fill out this whole form, but it's a really quick form. And once the form is completed, it connects them to the advisor. If you want to book 15 minutes with Tashi, just click book now. And you fill out a quick form, and then Tashi gets an email, and so do I. And so does Laura on our team. Our whole team gets an email, and someone will reach out to you shortly. Okay, sorry. Events. I forgot to show you the events. So the events that we have posted on this on the website are pulled from a number of locations. Like I mentioned at the beginning, we pull from the SBA, DEED, and then a number of our advisors. We work with this great group called MB Mentors. They're a group of retired business leaders that have that actually came out of SCORE, and they decided to start their own thing for Hennepin County that really focuses on class-based delivery. So all their classes are in here. They'll also pair someone with a mentor. And it's all here on this website. And so I really hope that you'll take a few minutes and check it out and explore the opportunities that are available to business owners throughout Hennepin County. Okay, I already talked a little bit about our CEO Next program. This is just another offering that we have a number of cohort-based opportunities that are beyond the one-on-one advising, and I think I talked a little bit about each of these. This will be in the PowerPoint presentation. I'm happy to talk with anyone more that has any additional questions about CEO Next or CEO Now. They are companion programs based on the size of the business. So if you're just starting out, but both of them, you have to have employees, you have to be an established business to participate, and you have to kind of have proof of concept. So it's really to help those CEOs that really have a growth-oriented mindset and really want to stabilize and have a vision for how they want to do it. Both programs will help them get there. We know business owners often know where they want to go, and they have a great vision for it, but they just don't know what the kind of like, how do I make those next steps? So both of these programs are kind of helping those business owners make those next steps, and are peer-based. So you build relationships with peers and try to troubleshoot with peers. I just showed you those construction resources. These are curated opportunities that we're rolling out. Our Certified Access Academy supports women of color entrepreneurs that want to contract with government and corporate entities. These cohorts are offered on a semi-annual basis. As I mentioned, we are rolling out more business resources this spring. We just closed an RFP. We'll be offering, in addition to the technical assistance that I described before that will focus on human resources and the digital, helping businesses get their computers set up and software, we will also be investing more in business navigation, so helping business owners really get to the right resource, it'll be supporting Tashi in this work. We've just seen an incredible increase in demand for that type of resource, especially since we launched the website, which I think we made it more accessible for someone to connect with business navigation. And then we'll be rolling out a cohort this year that really focuses on helping business owners incorporate more technology into their business. What we also found during the pandemic is people really had trouble accessing certain types of grants and opportunities because they're trying to do it on their phone. Maybe they don't have points of sale software in their system. They don't have QuickBooks. So this is really an opportunity for what we're hoping to procure for is an opportunity for business owners to explore different types of technology, have a safe space to explore different types of technology that they could incorporate, whether it's customer relationship management software or maybe it's even just incorporating more social media opportunities. We hope that this cohort opportunity that we roll out hopefully this summer will help them have a safe space to do that. All right. I have a few more slides. I'm almost done. I really appreciate your attention. This morning, I always include a slide about the Hennepin County Library in this presentation because they offer just incredible databases for business owners. This is not necessarily part of our Elevate initiative, except that we consider it part of our duty to really raise awareness about the opportunities that we offer through Hennepin County. The databases that they offer include opportunities to research competitors, identify new customers, And then they also have a dedicated trademark librarian, which is the only one in the state and one of the only ones in the Midwest outside of Chicago. So if you have a new product or that you're trying to get trademarked, they have a librarian there that will help you navigate their database. They work with Legal Corps, so there's also additional legal resources for business owners through the Hennepin County Library. It's really incredible. I actually use it to prospect for those CEOs in that CEO Next program, those 10 to 99. It's really hard to be a CEO that gets to that level, and so I need to be able to find them. So I use the library's database to identify potential entrepreneurs that would fit the parameters of that program. Those are paid databases that are really expensive otherwise, and I'd have to pay a lot of money to have a researcher go and do that, and you can access that for free through the Hennepin County Library. They also have this great training program. It's LinkedIn Learning, free to Hennepin County users. You can learn any kind of software. If you don't want to use an advisor, you want to do kind of a low risk, I just want to watch it on TV, you can learn QuickBooks, Microsoft Word, Excel, you can learn Salesforce, whatever you want through LinkedIn Learning, and it's all paid for by the Hennepin County Library. So it just takes a little time sitting there kind of navigating the library's resources, but they do have a librarian that will come out and show the library's resources. We also have on the program page, on our program page, we have a little video showing the different types of resources, so I really encourage you to go check that out. All right, everyone's favorite, business recycling grants. It is required that we have signage and business owners have signage on their garbage bins, and we make grants possible and make these resources available to business owners, so we always include that slide. So that brings me to the end of the presentation. I really appreciate your attention this morning, and I really hope that you can help be advocates for Elevate Hennepin and connect your business owners. I understand your business community is growing. It's small but growing, small but mighty. This is a great way to help people get started. And we know that in suburban Hennepin County, which is where our focus is as an agency on the small business support side, because Minneapolis has their own small business supports. We are really focused on making sure that our suburban partners are aware and engaging and really utilizing this resource because it's here for you. And so with that, I'm going to pause and I'm open for questions.
What was the range of revenue that this is designed for?
This is designed for anyone who has an idea all the way up to 99 employees and over $1 million. We have different programs for different sizes of businesses. If you had an idea about a business and you're like, I just need to spitball this idea, you can call one of the advisors. We have advisors that are going to help you evaluate your idea and say, yes, this is a great idea, and here are the next steps you should do it. Or, maybe this isn't a great idea, and here's why, and here's what you need to do to really make it a viable business. And maybe that's not where you're at right now. And we actually really support having our advisors help our business owners make the best decision for them wherever they're at in their business. And so, to your question about what size is this for? That's really why we need small business navigation, because there's just a lot of resources here. It's really hard to cover it all in one presentation in an hour. And there's a lot of resources that are available through the state and other agencies. And so that's why we have small business navigation to really help people connect to the right resource, no matter what size of business they are. So whether you're starting out or you have an established growing business, there's something there for everyone, I hope.
I had a question. You said that this kind of either started or jump-started during the pandemic. Was it? I mean, is that how new your group is, like 3-4 years?
Well, so that's a great question. So we actually have historically offered all throughout Hennepin County an opportunity called Open to Business. Mm-hmm. And Open to Business great organization. Now they're just one of the 23 advisors. They're more of a generalist. They're a lending organization. We've offered that, I think, probably since 2011. CEO Next we've offered since 2011. And what we heard from our business community and really what we saw coming out of the pandemic was that there's a need for more and more specialized, because open to business was great for some business owners, but it wasn't working for all business owners. And so what we were hoping is that we could really reach more business owners. And so that doesn't exactly answer your question.
Basically what I hear you saying is like you had some core elements, but then really took off during the pandemic.
It exploded during the pandemic.
And I assume that was from some funding, obviously.
Definitely from funding, yeah. So during the pandemic, we did small business relief grants, which was, the federal government had stimulus and gave it to local jurisdictions to deploy into communities. And so we did that, and then at the same time we said, okay, gosh, there's still so much happening. And then the county allocated pandemic recovery funding to businesses, which was made possible. It's kind of a funny accounting thing, but the federal government had American Rescue Plan Act dollars.
Right.
So this isn't directly funded through American Rescue Plan Act dollars, but it's made possible because of where they were able to shift funds. Right. So Hennepin County commissioners really saw that there was still a need for businesses to be supported. It was like, hey, great, we did all this awesome work deploying grants and giving business owners grants to just help them get through. And now there's opportunities to really stabilize, help our business owners stabilize and strengthen coming out of the pandemic and hopefully into the future.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I did. I guess you answered my question around eligibility, but so you mentioned a couple times around attorney assistance for various things. So in terms of small business wanting to have some help reviewing a purchase agreement, something like that,
Definitely.
Is that kind of a service? And that would be a free service.
That
as
would
well.
be a free service. That's right. Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And where the funding for like ongoing, does that come through deed, or does that come, like what part of the government, or the state?
That's a great question. So deed funds a certain number of advisors. The advisors that we contract with, Hennepin County funds. And so like I said, American Rescue Plan is a federal stimulus that
Right.
That we have dollars. This is technically under pandemic recovery funding.
Right.
And that is funded by Hennepin County. So it is coming from Hennepin County. Deed funds additional advisors that are also available to every, business owners across the state. And on this website, you can see all of those. We don't necessarily at this point, if we go to resources, all of the resources that are available that are funded by deed that you can access no matter where you are in the state. And I see one that's wrong because that's right. Foreign trade zone is funded throughout the state. If you click on Minnesota, these are resources that are often funded by multiple agencies, and so they're like Women Venture is funded through deed, and I think they have a SBDC office out of there, so that's federal, and they're also funded by Hennepin County, and they have. Women Venture in particular, they have a dedicated staff person just to handle Hennepin County business, one-on-one technical assistance. They have slightly different services that they offer through the state. But the advisors that are offered, when you click on Hennepin County here, I'm going to click on Hennepin County. If you're in Hennepin County and you see this these featured resources, these are funded by Hennepin County. These are Hennepin County funded advisors. They have a contract with us. They have to uphold contractually. They have to uphold a certain standard. Right. We really emphasize helping. The focus it should be on the business owner. So if the advisor can't help them with the particular need they have, we really try to foster a culture of networking with other advisors and making a nice handoff to another advisor within the network. So any of these featured, if you have Hennepin County selected And here's a good one. It has this Hennepin, paid for by Hennepin County seal on it right here. These are Hennepin County funded advisors.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments for the Hennepin County team of Mary or Tashi? I know that Tashi's in the audience, but she's probably able to answer any questions.
So Tashi's kind of the first point of contact with someone that doesn't know anything, right?
That's right.
And then you kind of point them in the right direction.
Yeah,
Okay.
in a nutshell, yeah.
Anything? Good?
All right, thank you so much for your
Thank
time
you.
this morning. Do you want to close this?
Yeah, you can close it down. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Very much appreciated.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Again, Hennepin County team coming out. That was great. Any other final comments? You can, if you have any other final things you need any more questions on or anything else, you can always direct them to me, and I can forward them on to Tashi or to Mary at Hennepin County. So,
I was just going to make a comment. I don't, this is probably for the next meeting, but we are working on our own website. I'm wondering if this wouldn't be a good link.
Absolutely.
yep, yeah. So the plan was to put it on the website when I first heard about this, but they said they'd like to come and talk first. So I
Yeah.
said, wonderful. Let's put that on the
Yeah,
website
I
after
mean, you
you
could
come
just
talk.
dress it up as like thinking about starting a business or whatever,
Yep.
Or if you even have one.
or
Yeah,
have a
business
whatever.
assistance or
Yeah.
anything. Yeah. Yep, correct. So we'll put some stuff on the website,
Yeah.
and as we revamp the website, we'll look at making it.
I just want to make
dressed up
that
and
point as
prettier. Yep.
when we revisit some of the website stuff, that we revisit this.
Good asset.
Yeah, good asset.
Now, how do we direct access to Tashi? If she's our contact, right?
Yep.
Should we have that information?
Yeah. Go ahead, Tashi.
Sorry. Yes, you can either, my email address is on the actual presentation, or you can go to our website, elevatehamden.org, and there is an option to book 15 minutes, so that comes directly to me. You can book the time as convenient for.
So we'll give all the EDA members her
We
contact
got Kevin
information.
Dockery.
That's a one-sided sheet, I think, that we handed out that was related to Hennepin County, but Tashi should be your contact for any of this Elevate business stuff. Should be Tashi. So I will provide her contact information and an email, no problem, after this meeting, so you guys can share
Thank
that
you.
with.
And not so much if you're going to just start one, but I mean,
Yeah,
you
existing.
could use these guys for
Yeah.
marketing,
Yeah,
Yep.
because I don't want to.
right.
I mean,
Right.
Yep. Correct. Yeah, this is a free service for everybody, and for businesses, basically 0 to 99.
How do you really feel, Scott?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were to hold
Or
back, how would you do it?
$6 million is what I heard in revenue.
Over $1 million in revenue, I believe. I don't know exactly if there's a limit on the top end. Tashi, is there a limit on the top end
said
besides
200 million.
Well,
99?
so there's different, like Mary mentioned, we have several different programs for these
Yep.
grants. So if you are entering in CO Next, that's millions up to 50 million, so that's what the cap is.
Okay.
But where our bread and butter has been with Hennepin,
I thought you said
more of
6.
less than 10 employees, normally under 250 in revenue is what we've been seeing as a majority of the businesses that we serve.
Yeah.
And then there's that middle ground of our new, quote unquote, baby CO now, which is in between and actually is actually.
Sure.
Hold on, we got a technical
Yep.
issue.
Oh, yeah, she's going to keep talking. She's going to probably have her come to the mic.
They can't hear you off record.
So it's all, yeah, unless you have more questions for her.
Did you get that covered?
Yeah, I got
Yeah,
it.
essentially what you said is that, just recapping, that's basically 1 to 50 million for the top end people, and then it's anything from a, what do you call it, a baby, is that what you called it? That
Well,
would be
we
0.
kind of wanted to fill the middle ground between CO Next and the Elevate Hennepin program, so that's what we have our new 7-month cohort program, CO Now. So what we're seeing for business owners coming within in that program is between 250 to $1 million type. So those are business owners who have kind of established themselves already, and they're now ready to scale and grow. So those are the business owners that we see in that middle bucket. So if you want to think about it, we help anyone from idea stage, so you haven't made any money yet, $0, all the way with all of our programs up to 50 million. But we've sectioned it out to be able to better serve these business owners depending upon what stage they're in for their businesses. just realizing there's not a cookie cutter fit for every single person, and that's another reason why we expanded with our advisors, because we wanted to ensure that we had someone for everyone, and we're extremely intentional about connecting business owners with the right fit as far as a resource provider.
Sure.
Thanks.
Okay.
Covered?
Any other questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right, move on.
Thank you again for coming out. Appreciate it. Recommendations of ideas for Historic Village Framework Plan for starting point. Zach.
Correct. Yes, EDA chair and members, we're looking, your staff needs to have an idea or starting point for Historic Village Framework Plan. Appreciate Member Burnins for sending out the email with comments. That was great. That was fantastic to have. I did receive some comments from Chair Hutner as well. That I don't know if we want to talk about those, how we want to go through those things, but I think we should address what we want basically the starting point to be before we start moving any more steps down the line. If we feel like something needs to be changed on that framework plan, again, is that it's the starting point and something needs to be adjusted, let's adjust it now before we start getting too far down the track. So I'll leave it back to the EDA.
Yeah, and what I put out there was just some rough ideas on what I looked at the 2004 plan, which is the current plan, right?
Correct.
And said, you know, what would we do any different from that? To me, the biggest thing is really the guided zoning. Like, that really drives what happens, I think. Not so much from what the city is going to invest in, but what you want there.
Set up.
Yeah, how it's set up. And then I think the other thing, and I had a little bit of thought around, I put in there about, I know there's a lot of plans for the Three Rivers Park in that area, like trails. And then there was a group that they came to me as part of the city, some water
Trails, yep.
group or something.
MSA is the company.
And I know they're working on it. I tried to sit in on their last presentation, but they're basically looking at Diamond Lake, the rivers, whatever, to say, like, how do we connect all these bodies of water through trails or whatever. And, what are we going to use them for? So I think there might be a couple other commissions or groups that we want to reach out to, or at least say, this is what we're working on, this is what we have, what we're thinking, and we'd be interested in your thoughts relative to what you're working on. So,
Sure.
Well, the Parks Commission would have the closest contact with the Water Trails group at this point. I mean,
Right.
That was an initiative that was originated with them. It's been to the council for a couple of updates, but primarily it's the Parks Commission that kind of owns that.
And that will be approved at the next council meeting on the 28th, next Tuesday.
what their plan is.
Yep, the water trail study, the final study and all the plan and everything, yep.
I was actually going to sit in on the call, and somehow I missed it, but I didn't. Is there available, like, what they came up with, or that won't be available until it's approved?
It'll be presented at the 28th. I can get in contact with Marty Farrell, Public Works Director. He's been the one kind of spearheading the whole project. So
Okay.
he would have the one with the most information. I don't know if he's seen a final draft of it or not yet. That's what I don't know, but it'll
Yeah.
look to get approved at the next.
I just
council
don't know how
meeting.
any of those things may connect with anything we might be thinking about.
Sure. Yeah, I think it will all interconnect at one point. I mean, I don't think we have to have it perfectly down for the trails and stuff, but I think the main thing is, like I said, what do we want to see down in downtown area or the historic village area in total.
So direction for today is going to figure out if we want to move forward on this
Yep, so basically what we need to do first off is
zoning.
finalize what we want to see as a starting point for the framework plan. Any major adjustments that we want to start off with exactly from the 2004 plan. And then after that, then we'll approve a step-by-step process for that. So when we get to that point, we'll probably have to include the planning commission. That was an oversight by myself. I know we talked about it at the EDA meeting on the 10th. An oversight of myself of writing it down on the planning commission's process would be zoning contact and talk, because they would be the people that would know the best zoning or use of the land better than myself would be, so.
So is this where we talked about what we wrote into the?
Yep, so first off, we need to get a recommended plan first. So basically, if we want to talk about any of the context that, like I said, member Vernon sent out, or if you want to talk about any of the points that you made, Chair Hutner, to just myself, happy to discuss those in person and talking about those things. I want to make sure that we have a finalized plan before we go through the next steps. Because if we don't have a finalized plan, then
We're spinning our wheels.
we're spinning our wheels trying to figure out, okay, where do we want to start at as the EDA before we move forward.
Has everybody got everybody's information about what their plans was, or?
Nope. That's why the only one I haven't sent out was yours. I did not send that out or not forward it, so I wanted to talk about it today.
Okay.
About your comments, and then I know that everyone saw Member Burnen's comments. He sent that out to the entire EDA, so that was good. I don't know if anybody else had any comments on. We can start with probably Member Burnen's ones first, and go from there. And then I could talk about the ones that you sent out. Sure, unless you want to talk about those, it's up to you. I will not lie, I've not had a long chance to be able to review these based on the timing, so.
So, one of the things, I mean, you guys probably may or may not have had a chance to read the email I sent. My perspective, I guess, and I think I've tried to communicate this from the beginning, is like, what really is feasible to be done in the next 10 years, what can we do? I think the biggest thing is, to me, is really setting up, like, what do you want it to look like in terms of, I call it guided zoning, because I started on Robinson Street and just said, okay, I didn't even include the whole Robinson Street area. I just went from Richardson up to, I think, Dayton. There's like 3 blocks, which is the kind of core area, and said that should be commercial and or high density, or it could be a combination of commercial on the bottom and medium density on the top, kind of a thing. And then I talked about, 1 block behind that, maybe we guide as medium density, because there's only really, from Robinson Street to the river, there's only 2 blocks plus what's on the river. And I didn't go all the way out, and then I said the rest of downtown, we ought to just leave residential, because that's what it is now, and I think the thought that we're going to change the whole downtown area into medium or high densities a pipe dream. So I don't know that anyone, when we went and talked with the city, when we get to interact with the people that live there, I'm not sure they would want that anyway.
It seems like it's pretty similar to what the concept is right now. Basically,
I think it's similar, except for I just kind of narrowed it in a little bit, and some of in the other plan there was high density up along the river park.
Oh, yep. Okay.
And there are some other high density areas that were on the other plan that I don't think are necessary. I didn't think the roundabout was necessary unless there's a reason I'm not thinking of. I mean, maybe they want to deal with the fact that you're coming down that slope and they wanted to kind of fix that slope there. I don't know. But to me, if you're going to slow traffic coming through down Robinson, if you have that promenade that connects the Mississippi River to the Crow River,
Sure.
That's where you would try to slow the traffic, whether that's a flashing light, a stop sign, a speed bump. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy.
Well, can't that be covered in the transportation plan that the council's working on?
Well, sure, I suppose. I was just...
No, that wouldn't. Yeah, that wouldn't be covered by.
Not focusing on that part of town.
Yeah, I wouldn't. That's a county road, unfortunately. So we have really no jurisdiction over what goes there. We can, but what if we wanted this paper? But if we go to Hennepin County and say, hey,
we
want
can
that
ask.
thing.
We could
So
say,
it's a
look,
moot
we're
point.
worried about.
Yep.
I mean, the key thing is always safety, right? So we're worried about pedestrian safety. We think you, the county, should put a stop sign there, or a speed bump, or a flashing light, or whatever.
That'll be similar to the flashing lights that we don't have on any of County Road 1 or 129th Avenue that we asked to put up. So I guess
Either of which
they don't
not
like flashing lights. I don't know why, but
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
which
that
is
was
fine.
my thought. I mean, any of those things I think all of them are up for discussion, obviously, but that was my input, I guess, into the current plan. I didn't see that there was a lot wrong with the current plan. The other thing I guess I thought was that I don't think there's any need to upgrade the trunk line for the sewer right away. I think if we put the guided zoning in and we see some of this stuff happening, and we feel like, and then, there's an assessment on, I think we should assess like what would need to be done, how much of Robinson Street would have to be torn up in order to expand that, make that trunk line bigger, but only do that when we see that it's necessary. So that might be 10 years or 15 years out,
Sure. Yeah, the assessment part will be a little tricky, only because we've already assessed them once. So
Right.
people in Historic Village have already been assessed once for the sewer that was done in 2000. So it'd have to be the upgraded costs that was not done or not assessed on that point. You couldn't assess them for the full cost again, based on the fact that we've already assessed them once, and once our property's been
Maybe that's
established,
where
we
we look
can't.
for grant money
As
or-
far as I'm aware, we can't reassess it for the same process.
Yeah. Well, and I think the question is will we need it?
Well, unless we can snag a bond from some friends down at the state
Yep.
capitol.
Yep,
If we can
correct.
snag one of those bonds, which they're talking about right now, then why wouldn't we update and have county make that change? Then we can get more infrastructure underneath there, and we don't get hit with the tag.
Sure, yeah. We can find other monies, obviously, that's.
Are those capacity issues, are they going to be covered as part of the study that we
Water and sewer study.
commissioned,
Yep.
not
When does
SRS,
that
but
come out?
Stantec to do their, well, they're working on it now. And we expected to have some kind of, at least preliminary report by budget time this fall.
Yep, so we are updating our current comprehensive water and sewer plans for the entire city. They have not been updated in 2007, I think, and 2009 or 2005, can't remember which way it went, but it's been a while, so.
I know that they're trying to burn some money down at the
Yep,
state.
no,
for
we
this.
can, the identifying of dollars is a totally different process than identifying what the long-term solutions are, long-term issues are with this if we don't do anything in the historic village. So,
Well, and my thought was on the sewer piece was that you would, if you were going to do anything to Robinson Street to widen it and maybe put different parking or whatever, you'd do that when you did the sewer.
yep,
And then you'd put the light post or whatever, for the banners and that kind of stuff like you see in most of the little small towns at the same time. I mean, the flower pot thing is something you can do in the entrance. but-
So do we have did he answer your question? We got
yep,
a
I think so, yeah, so basically, yeah. In essence, it doesn't sound like there's a lot of change from the current historic framework plan. I think the only major change would be some of the densities off of Robinson Street, which you're a
Yes.
little concerned about the high density aspect on both sides of those, changing those to medium densities.
I just don't know if it's realistic.
Have you got
Correct.
one of these put up? Have you got one of these in your computer you can put on the screen?
Yes.
Well, and I think that, what I'd like to discuss is I brought the commercial and higher density kind of into a tighter
Yep.
zone, if
Yep.
you will. Is that the right thing? What do you guys think about that? Or should we go the whole length of Robinson Street? Because I just went, there's just 3 blocks there. I went
Jack,
from,
grab the mouse and we can go up and do that so we can watch.
Oh boy, what the heck? Draft. What that is.
okay, when he gets it up there,
Well,
I'll point
It
with my
won't go
pointer,
away. There we
with my
go.
pen.
Unhelpful before you go.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
I don't know if I will
Boy,
be
I
able
think
to
they
hear
got to
it,
hear.
Yeah, so
Hey,
it's going to be hard for people to
Jack,
see on live stream.
They got to hear you.
Go ahead. You can go ahead. You can go point on that thing, Jack, and then I can point with the mouse following
Okay,
you.
so what I did was, I just basically brought the commercial high density from Dayton to Richardson.
Yep.
These 3 blocks, instead of going all the way up.
So basically, yeah, 2 blocks essentially
Yeah, 2
distance-wise.
blocks, basically. And then this, so you have I consider this a block, that would be high density and or commercial, high density or commercial. And then the next block back
What in the heck?
would be the medium.
Clicking anything.
And I think the difference between the original plan is they have some high behind where I have.
Yes.
medium. And I can't
Correct, yep.
remember on this, the property that started all this. You know,
I'm going to lose it on this computer in a second. I don't even know why it keeps doing that. I'm just going to delete it saying draft, and then I can't go find it again. I don't know why it keeps going there, but
Okay. I can't remember. I think the property that we were talking about was back here.
It's right back in there.
which one?
The V?
Levy Street.
Oh, that's right here. That's where the red one's at right here, this little red block.
Yeah. So this would still be medium.
Yeah, so right now, currently, this is zoned part of half, basically half
This
the
would be high density
Yeah.
on the current plan.
current plan, yep.
And
Yeah,
I
so-
just had this, I just did it by block, but you could do it by individual property if you want. I mean, there was, obviously in the old plan, there was some kind of thought that there'd be some kind of two high-density buildings, like
Yep.
some kind of encompassing this park. Now, the other thing I had was, the city owns a number of these, I think it was this one,
Yep, yeah.
that's not owned by us, but if we wanted to take this park all the way out, you know, this park from like, basically from Dayton to Richardson, I think there's one or two properties that the
It'd be
city
one property I think we have to purchase, yep.
might want to purchase if it comes available. Then you'd have the park all along the whole river there.
Correct.
And then this would be the promenade, which would connect this park up to, over the Crow River. And then I also mentioned that maybe if the firehouse is moving at some time in the future, maybe this is a park or whatever, somehow that's tied in, I don't know.
Sure.
Uh,
Yeah, so I guess the
Other than that,
the main change from what the current plan is showing is that would be medium density instead of high density behind basically the main strip.
Yep. And that's what I kind of put out there too.
Yeah, are we on similar
Jack.
thought processes here? I mean,
Which kind of makes sense. High density on the river is going to be difficult for parking unless
Yeah,
you have enough
yeah.
parking.
and all of that would have to be underground parking, most likely because they have to be built on site. There's not a lot of space there to put
Right.
additional
Not
parking.
much underground on a high water table.
Well, I think
Correct.
there's a lot of floodplain as
Yeah.
you get down
You wouldn't-
toward the
Not
boat
digging very
landing.
deep before it gets wet.
Unless we're gonna park with boats.
Yeah, so, okay, if that's the direction, that's great. So it sounds
Yep.
like the direction is to change.
I agree with Tim.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any?
It sounds like everyone's kind of on that same page. I got a lot of head
And let's
nods
just
on
get rid of the
that.
high density in the back and make it ROMU3 or whatever the,
Okay, that's at least so I want to make sure that this is the direction of the EDA. Doesn't mean that's the final plan. This is just the direction that the EDA would like to see it.
I think
Okay.
what we'd say is the direction from the EPA is make these modifications.
Yeah, correct,
to the
yep.
Current 2004 plan.
Yep.
is this motionable?
No, it doesn't need to be motionable until we're all done. Then we'll do a motion for all of the changes if we want to have any more.
Well,
I guess the
I
only
think-
other thing I had on there was, it seems to me the boat landing is probably a little bit underutilized, so to speak, so there might be a way to tie that into the trail system.
I'm sure the water trail thing has got that factored into it.
Probably, yeah, and that's why I recommended maybe talking to the
Parks.
Parks Commission. Yep.
Commission or whatever.
As we should. We should bring all the other commissions in on this. Okay, so we're on that page. Any other changes?
Any other changes that you want to see for the major plan?
Because that's literally kind of exactly what I was thinking.
Well, on page 5-3,
You talking about on the framework plan? Sorry. Yep.
principle 1,
Yep. Develop a diverse critical mass of activity with a compact mixture of uses.
yep, the first point there. The ultimate success of the historic village will be achieved by identifying expectations and capturing the opportunities available in the market. What on earth does that mean? And how
What do
will
you
you
want it to
measure
mean?
it?
Right, how do you quantify that?
Yeah.
You're asking the wrong guy.
So I am saying scratch that paragraph.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't go through the
I didn't either.
verbiage of the plan necessarily.
Anything else you want to scratch on this?
Well, the only other,
That's attainable if you just want to get a big bond and just do it. Otherwise, you got to find somebody that's going to fund it.
well, it's attainable. What is attainable?
Yeah,
That's my question.
It's kind of,
it's an open-ended question.
Oh, well,
The problem is,
It doesn't.
probably that whole glorious plan that they got.
Glorious.
Yeah.
well, I would say that success is in the eye of
What's
the
the
beholder.
goal? The goal is to be better.
Yep.
What's better?
That's
Yeah.
exactly it.
Better than we are now. So how do we measure that? Well, we're better.
Okay, Jim wants to scratch that, we're scratching it.
And then on the 510, I believe, no, 511, we have, there's nothing on this page that talks about the EDA at all.
yeah, that was the change we requested.
There is establish an advisory group. The other is all listed about the council's responsibility. And I don't know if we want to add that the council directs the EDA
I think we've
to.
already talked about that.
Yeah,
about
we
that.
talked
We
about
have
that.
talked about it, but there isn't anything in here that
Oh,
says
no,
that.
nobody retyped this
So
whole
you,
thing.
Yeah.
you want to put our stamp on that?
Well, he's
Well-
just saying the plan needs to be revised to reflect reality. That's
I'm just saying that this was, when was this written?
2000.
2004.
2004, and I don't believe an established advisory group was ever established.
No.
It wasn't.
It is now. So we'll make that change on that?
Yeah, so I mean, we would basically change the EDA to be the advisory group,
Okay.
to be that person to be able to oversee. I don't feel, based on the participation of representatives in this area, it's going to be hard to get us 10 to 15 representatives of the area, specifically 10 to 15 because that's a lot of dedicated time. But
Anything else?
Nope.
Thank you. Everybody else good with that?
so, okay, perfect. Got some direction, which is good. Perfect. Thank you.
So we got number 5 knocked out of the way. Discussion, step-by-step plan, for plan. I think we should table that in lieu of our timetable.
The step-by-step plan.
Yeah. Because we already solved
Yeah,
it.
so,
What
yeah,
was the
so
next
the step-by-step plan was to kind of establish of what the process will be of how we go through this process. It doesn't have to be exactly like it's going to be 1 month from today, 1 month from here, exact dates, but it's a process that everyone knows, okay, here's where we're at in the process. And the reason being that is that I don't want to have happen is we start down the process of moving forward with this thing, and then all of a sudden we go, well, now we're done, that's it. And then we haven't actually finished the product.
Sits there for
And then it sits,
2004 again.
yeah, correct. And then it sits
So-
there forever until we do it.
What I hear you saying in that point was, okay, like, so the next thing would be we gotta go back to the council with what we came up with, right? And so these are the modifications that generally we're looking at.
Not based on what I was sent out. Basically, was okay. Let's get what we want, which is what I heard today, which is medium density change. That's a small change, but a change. Then, if we do the next step, would be receive resident feedback, which would happen would happen with staff and EDA involved with that. Then we would evaluate the feedback that we got from the residents, and then have a check-in with council to say, okay, here's what we got from us. Here's what we got from the residents. This is what we think is going to be the best option for us. Let's check in with council. I don't want to check in with council every time we do something because it's going to take the process forever to get through the process. But we also don't want to leave council in the dark either of saying, we've done all this work and now here you are at the end, here's our product. And then they go, well, that's not what we wanted, or that doesn't fit with our grand scheme of the city.
Should
So,
we put in a step with the Parks Commission or whatever other plan?
yep, so we should probably talk about with Planning Commission and with Parks Commission most likely, now that the water trail study is going to be approved next week, or is set to be approved next week, doesn't mean it's going to be, but set to be approved next week on Tuesday. Once that's been established, we probably have a check-in with both Planning Commission and Parks Commission. We can either do a joint session, or we can do them at their Planning Commission or Parks Commission meeting nights. It's up to this body if they like to do whatever, and then we have to coordinate, obviously, with the other body to make sure that they're able to attend, at least a majority of the ones able to attend. So we should definitely add those processes in there. In this steps, I just don't know what steps we should have them in.
Let's go through the steps and get them done, because we wanted to do the feedback from the community
Yep.
meeting like in April, didn't we say last time? On our planning commission, or that planning session we had, and we talked about.
Well, we had to know what we were doing first.
Certainly,
Correct.
if
Yep,
the
so that-
community has no interest in doing anything, it's over. I mean, basically, you're gonna,
Right.
it's pretty much done.
Yeah, so the
doesn't
first
go
step,
through all the
we did
steps.
step number 1, which was on today's meeting, which was recommendations for the changes that you want to see. Perfect. We did step number 1. Now what's the next step? What's the next process that staff needs to follow in order to get this thing moving through the process? Because if it leaves it all on the EDA, it's going to be difficult to get moving without any staff assistance.
So we need that meeting then.
Well, I did- and that-
Roundtables, Q&A, Old Town?
Yes, correct. Yep. So what we need to identify is a step-by-step plan, and then we can go through the details of that. So
Okay.
the second step that we have on the plan would be to receive resident feedback. Does that sound like the next appropriate step to do?
I guess my only question on that is, do you want to make sure that you have, kind of your ducks laid out, so to speak, before you meet with the residents to say, we've talked to the Parks Commission, the Planning Commission, this is kind of
Correct,
what we
yeah.
see, what's the feedback? Because if you just go in and say, do you want to do anything, you're going to get everything from A to Z on people's feedback, if you just if we just go in there with nothing and just say, we're thinking.
Well, we'll go in there with this, with your changes that you just identified. We'll go in there with this and say, here's the changes, plus the changes that we just identified today, which was the change from high to medium density, which I'm holding the framework plan up. That's what we'll start with and say, here's what our ultimate, or this is what we'd like to do in the next number of years. Sooner than later, but we need to do something if we wanted to. If the residents are all against us doing anything, and they're going to be opposing the whole process, then we kind of know where we stand. And we can still have a plan, but it doesn't mean it's just going to take a lot longer to get processed and implemented.
I mean, to me, it's just that there's probably a little detail around what we just discussed today with the other groups that might be.
Yep. So that could be step number 2.
Beneficial for people to see, like, hey, the boat landing might be.
So tell them the next step. Tell them the next step.
I think it's the 2 planning commissions.
Check in with planning commission. Check in with Parks Commission.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that?
Then have our meeting.
Okay. Are we?
Who is, we're talking about some changes ultimately in zoning here, but sort of guided use. Who's updating drawings? And what are we going to show people at this point?
As in at the meeting for the residential feedback one?
Well, if that's the next meeting, but I don't think it is. I think it's planning commission or.
Sure. Yeah, so
combined meeting.
I'll see how we got this framework, this figure done. I don't know how it was done. I don't know. Maybe I could check back in with the company that did it. I don't remember, but I'll take a look and see. If anything, we can try to recreate it with best we can with just basically guided uses and show this is what this means based on this drawing and the comments that we just made today. And then hand that to the Planning Commission and Parks Commission and say, this is what we'd like to see, based on densities or zonings or whatever else for guided use. Like I said, currently it's just all mixed use, so it's not directly anything, but it's much more open-ended of what could go there versus having a set use by spot or area.
Well, it seems like we need to partner with somebody because this is going to continue to evolve as discussions continue.
Yes.
And it isn't going to be one of us, scribbling on the paper to update these concept drawings. And then at some point, the intent is to take it further to what do we need for sewer and ponding and parking and all of the
Professional drawings.
the detail kinds of things.
Yep.
If we get there, yeah. I mean, we may not get there.
So that's looks like that right now is going to be step 6, I would say, is kind of the process, at least in the step-by-step plan, was proceed either with a third party or have the EDA as the driver, which is what you're explaining of making the concept changes, making the plan changes, making the drawing amendments. It sounds like what you're saying is we need a third party to do that, which I don't disagree on. It's good to have
The
that.
small changes that we're talking about now, I think somebody in staff can put it on a piece of paper.
Yeah, if it's not the drawing itself, like I said, I can take a look and see if I can figure out how the drawing was done. And if we have it in our file somewhere, I can try to amend it. Otherwise, I can just make it as a picture kind of like that and just kind of, here's what the guided use would be if we had everything perfectly. And that'll be XYZ. That's townhomes or that's whatever. But it sounds like to me step 2 should be checking with the Planning Commission and Parks Commission before we go get resident feedback.
Yeah, I think it has to be. I mean, if you take this drawing and show it to residents, what are they going to think of that?
Not this drawing.
It's not going to mean anything to anybody.
This drawing's
It's
not
just-
really.
If you say we're taking this from mixed use to medium density, that hardly means anything to me.
Correct. Yep, that's what I mean. So this drawing makes a lot of sense because
This
people can
drawing
actually
makes
see
all
it.
kinds of sense.
And
Right.
you can actually see what that means. So like I said, we'll do our best to, we'll leave this as, either way, this will be shown. As this is what the plan is. The only adjustment would be instead of having these high-density apartment buildings here, we're going to put townhomes there, like row homes. That would be the change.
I think one of the things.
If we can't amend this picture, because this picture is 1,000 words compared to a couple of colors, which I don't disagree with.
Exactly my point.
Yep, correct.
I think the other thing is, like, once you go meet with the residents, like, pointing out, well, today, all of the historic village is mixed use, which means pretty much anybody can come in and do
It's
anything.
not totally anything, but it's
But, I
pretty
mean, it's
close.
close.
Yep.
And so this is what we're thinking about, which actually to me gives, if I were living down there, would give me more comfort to know that, hey, I'm back a few blocks and I have a house and they're not gonna be able to come in and buy the house next to me and put up an apartment building
Yeah.
because it's not zoned for that.
Ease them up a little.
It's not guided for that. I mean, so I'm just saying, I think it's the way we present to the residents, like, this is kind of where it's at, this was the plan, and this is where we think it should go.
Yeah, so
Doesn't
we,
mean anything's gonna happen. That's all it means is that somebody could buy a house and do that on Robinson Street
Sure.
if we guide it that way.
sure.
So we have step 2.
Yep, step 2 is check it with Planning Commission and Parks Commission. Those will be at the April meetings that they'll have, so it'll be the first Tuesday and first Thursday of the month.
And step 3.
And then step 3 sounds like it's going to be receive resident feedback, hold the listening session. That sounds like it should be mid-April, unless we have major changes, maybe end of April, depending. I'd like to get mailers out, or at least let them know of it, or notification of it sooner than later. So, we could set an actual official date later on, but probably mid to late April most likely would be the dates.
Is that enough steps for now?
Yeah, and then we should kind of establish what we want to do afterwards. It doesn't have to be exact timelines, but do we want to evaluate the feedback and feedback received from, do we want to have that as a joint evaluate feedback? Do we want to have that as just the planning EDA evaluating feedback from the residents? How would you feel about that?
Joint with council? Or?
Joint with Planning
Planning
Commission.
Commission.
Oh,
And Parks Commission if they
Yeah,
have any
I-
comments. But
I think we
Well,
should invite them.
I would say joint.
Yeah, but it's going to be like herding cats. Trying to get all these schedules lined up.
that's why I'm trying to get this step-by-step plan done so that we can let them know, here's what we'd like to do. And then
Why don't we put our eyes on first and we'll go with them? We can go with them in a work session, couldn't we?
Well, I mean, I think you can lay out the meetings and then, like the joint meeting and just say that this is when we're gonna do it.
Get our feedback.
Get a
Get
feedback
in a work session with planning and say, okay, here's what we saw. That work for you guys? Because if we put all together, everybody in one room trying to get them all together, and that's going to be tough, especially if
I
they're
don't
at night
disagree.
in the morning.
Well, aren't you really just, I mean, we're gonna meet with the two planning commission and
Parks
parks.
in
And then
April.
you're gonna have your resident meeting. That's all you do is invite them to attend the resident meeting. The two commissions, and then you've got, at least they're kinda hearing what you're hearing. And then if you wanna include them in a joint meeting after that, I don't think we have to, but.
That's my question is, what do you want to do after that meeting? So obviously they're going to be invited to all the stuff, the process going through that. So that's my question is, after that resident feedback meeting, we need to have an idea, staff needs to have an idea of what to do next. Do we want to?
We'll stand alone on that. I'm okay with standing alone.
You want to have evaluate feedback, have EDA or the EDA, Planning Commission and Parks Commission will provide feedback to the EDA of what they feel they heard,
Yep.
and then we would have a discussion at this level of EDA
Yep.
from that feedback. So
Yep.
basically, a standalone meeting. Not lying, it's just difficult to herd all of the commissions together when you want to have a joint meeting. Don't disagree that it's not needed. It's just very difficult to get them.
So we'll take the recommendations, we'll listen to it here, and then make recommendations for you
Okay.
on that.
Okay.
And that'll go to council, right? For-
Yep. So then basically after that, it would be, and then, get feedback from us and all that stuff, evaluate the recommendations for the Planning Commission, Parks Commissions, and then, have EDA make the final decision. I will send out an updated step-by-step plan.
Will council be present for the residential feedback?
They can be if they'd like, but it's up to you guys.
You'd
what you want.
invite them, wouldn't you?
Yeah, they're going to be invited, right?
They can be, yeah. Is that the direction of the EDA?
Yeah, I believe they should be invited.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
We have two council guys here.
We down at number 6?
Yep, so now we got.
Number
hold on.
7.
Hold on. Do we want to check in with council? Do we want to do anything after that? Or do we want to just say, we'll check in with council after we get all that stuff done, and then we're going to go from there?
We got to go from there.
Okay.
That's too many steps down there that we ain't going to
Okay,
get
I'm going to end with check in with council, and then we'll proceed as
needed.
needed. Okay?
7, ready?
Now I'm ready. Yes, thank you.
Seek approval for purchase of flower pots for sidewalks. So this is a motion thing, correct?
Yes.
Looking for a motion to approve, or have a discussion of said?
Well, the one discussion, I sent you guys an example. I think this was your idea, wasn't it, Scott? Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing and maybe the staff can look at this, is are there flower pots that actually have built-in
Stands.
banner posts where you could put banners on them? I don't know. I didn't see any. I
can take a
didn't
I
find
think we
it.
need to get to.
But I'm just saying that might be an option. Otherwise, just the flower pot examples I sent you were fine. I mean, I guess.
Did I hear a motion in that?
Yes. I'll make a motion to
We
buy
have a
the flower
motion to move
pots.
forward. Do we have a second?
Second.
What are we, yeah.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Staff updates.
Are we going to look at
Yeah,
what
wait.
we're buying?
Hold on. Wait a minute now. We got to.
What are you buying? 6 flower pots like this or what?
Yeah.
We'll pick the flower pots at another session where we have actually
Yeah,
more
that's
time.
fine. Okay, good.
Yeah, this is just to go out and get the process moving so we can.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
Look
staff
at
can
pictures
bring
for
us
it.
back.
Staff will bring back some ideas of here's what we came up with.
Let's find out a poll for Jack.
I will have Marty come up with some things and
Find a poll.
we'll figure it out.
Did you have something to say, Jim?
No, just laughing at that last motion, but that's all right.
That's all right. That's all we got.
Seeking approval, that's it, that's what we're doing.
It was a little unconventional.
Yeah.
Staff updates?
Yes, so EDA chair and members, we have 3 applications for industrial stuff going to Planning Commission next month, so in about 2.5 weeks or so. One is for Opus, which is a industrial warehouse building on the corner of Dayton Parkway and almost 81 on the other side of the railroad tracks, basically, where the giant cell tower is currently.
Oh, okay.
Everyone kind of knows where that's at. They will come in for, I believe that's a preliminary plat that they're coming in for. They came in with concept plan. Concept plan was not well renowned by the council. We made some changes to different processes and adjusted our B4 districting, did not allow that, and they are still coming in, so we will see how that goes with the process. The other one is a mini storage building next to Odessa, looking to do on the other side of Odessa, basically towards Brockton, on Territorial Road there. They're looking to do a mini storage building at that point, or that spot. And the third one is Semstone. So Semstone is looking to expand. They purchased the 2 properties next to them by King Solutions. They are looking to expand and make a warehousing kind of showcase room and being able to put their product inside when they have extra abilities to make more product. They're able to store it inside in a warehouse and also have a showroom to show here's what stamped concrete looks like, here's what colored concrete looks like, here's whatever. And just because of the market that concrete's in nowadays is that everyone wants to do all this other stuff with concrete. So being able to have a showroom for that makes it a lot easier for Semstone to sell product. So
Maybe
they
they
will
got
be
flower
coming.
pots.
Maybe they make flower pots out of concrete.
There are a
They
lot of
will be
concrete
very heavy, but
They might donate them.
they might. And then that's all industrial commercial. We have one very, very, very prospective residential development. It is on the corner of Territorial and 81, another apartment building. There was one that was, there's actually been 2 developments that have gone there. One was a townhome development and one was another apartment building. Both those other projects fell through for various reasons, but anything from financing to doesn't work with long-term use. So
You said that was apartments?
that is apartments.
So it's
Yep.
high
So that is
density.
apartment building. What was that?
High density.
Yep, high density. Yep. So those are market rate apartments. Not looking for a TIF ask or any sort of subsidy housing. They're just looking for market rate housing. Very similar to the housing that's going on just south of Elm Creek Park on 81 in Maple Grove. So, kind of a smaller type apartment building, nothing gigantically huge, but that
This
is
is
very,
those-
very prospective.
Those 3 properties that kind of form that triangle.
Yes.
Territorial. and
That is
81.
correct. That is correct. It is very prospective, as in first meeting, we told them what we needed out of the project, here's what the process is, and we've heard 0 since then. So, and that was about a month ago now. The process takes a long time just to get it even moving. So
Will this be
it's-
affected by our moratorium?
It would be affected by our moratorium, by the current plan that we have, yeah. So based on what we currently are saying the moratorium area is, it would be affected by the moratorium, so.
And where we're at now, the moratorium?
The moratorium we will be having a public hearing on March 14th. And we will be having some planning commission will weigh in on it on their meeting. I don't remember what that date is, March something, first Thursday of the month. And then we'll see if it goes through, but gets approved. But the current moratorium would be 125th essentially drawn straight across the city, over other side of French Lake and through the Elm Creek Park and south to 81. So anything south of 81 to our border, anything south of 81, 94, that triangle down in the bottom corner, that would be unaffected by the moratorium. But anything north of 81 to 125th in, I don't even know, kind of draws a trapezoid kind of look to our south boundary would be
Kind of
affected.
the
So we'll-
industrial area now, more or less.
Yep,
So
so
it will affect
basically,
some EDA stuff.
it will affect that apartment building. That is the only one, like I said, we've heard of or have any wind of at this point. So
Which one will affect?
that apartment building that I just mentioned.
Oh, okay.
It will not affect anything industrial that we are approving or looking or coming into for approval in the planning commission, because those are south of 81. So anything south or south,
Yeah.
whatever.
So the
West
Opus
of-
one is really it's another gigantic warehouse, and the council's saying we don't want another gigantic warehouse.
You got it.
Okay.
You got it.
Okay, anything else on that? Number 8 was scratch off, motion to adjourn. Before I adjourn, plan and pick a chair yet? Do we know who's running the show?
No.
Do we have
Yeah, what about him?
the guest? I mean, I don't know if there's any.
John's just here to listen, right?
Oh, okay.
Well, you kind of came in later, we usually do our stuff in the meeting
Beginning.
unless you had something to add.
You want to come up here, John, if you want to talk? That'd be great. Thanks.
John Sebald, 11487 Arrowwood Lane North. Just real quick, when you look, I appreciate that you mentioned the Planning Commission on the historic village stuff and working with the
That
Planning
John.
Commission.
Got
That
it.
John. But also, it's very important to, I think, work with Ellers and work with some of the developers on what is the realistic, I would say, thresholds for changing anything. So, there's some developers that are going to say, I'm going to buy a house, tear it down, put in, whether it's a duplex, fourplex, or something like that. To really have change and to do, sort of this mixed use stuff, that is millions and millions of dollars. And so there's a whole gamut of, finding a developer, finding a financer, those are all people that aren't in the room for any of this conversation, just not at this level, but also at the Planning Commission level. So, it's important to work with Ellers. We're already doing that, or have them as a consultant. So
Yeah.
I would think.
Would that be the third party that we'd likely engage with? I mean, they did some of our other work too. But
Yeah, we could check in with. We probably check in with a couple of them to see which one.
I mean,
he
what,
likes.
John? Just a question for you. You sat there and listened. I mean, was there concern about what we discussed at all versus what you've heard other? I mean, I know there's been lots of plans floated
It's
around.
still,
so.
and just from my experience, it's easy for us as whether the EDA or the Planning Commission or residents to say this is what I want. It's a much different thing to find a developer that says, well, this is what I can afford, and for them to find a lender that says, no way am I going to loan you money.
This
to
is
do
what
that.
you're getting paid, right?
Yeah.
3 different terms.
So
Got it.
Yeah.
This is why I've been advocating for us groups to get together and have this conversation, whether out here in work session, whatever it is. We need to be on the same page. And why would we reinvent the wheel if Ellers has already got page into it?
Yeah, so another thing to think about is, what do you want the village to be? Is you look at other models. What have other cities done? It's a little different. I can think of other downtowns like Osseo or Anoka and all that. Those are all in urban areas. In the village is not. So looking at like Hanover or Zimmerman or some of these farther out places, they don't look entirely different from the village. So we're all kind of struggling with that.
No, and I think that's a good point. I mean, that when we talked about it was like, you can have the Champlin plan where, you buy all the ground up and you wait 50 years and you wipe the slate clean. And, I mean, I guess our opinion.
Well, Champlin didn't wait 50 years. They did buy it all up, and they did wipe it all free.
Well, it was probably 30 years.
They bought everybody. It took commas and zeros to do that.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, it took them a long time to do it. I mean,
They didn't push hard until the last council. But we need these guys as tech inspect.
No,
so
no,
that
I
we
mean,
have that.
my only comment on that was that, like if you look at some of these smaller towns like he's talking about, I mean, I think what we were just discussing was more along those lines than Stillwater or something like that. In terms of total renovation.
You lost me.
Well, there's like, the reduced scale kind of approach to downtown.
Stillwater Light?
No, I'm saying not Stillwater Light.
Yeah, but the Stillwater's light version? Lighter version.
Light version.
Okay,
yeah.
I get you.
Yeah.
But that's such a conversation, like, we just got to get this guided first.
No, I agree. Forget it.
No, I get you. But this is why we need these guys.
No, I agree. I'm not disagreeing with that at all.
So if you're so inclined, if you guys get your organizational done inside, and do you pick internal on that?
For
Your chair?
I believe so. So yeah,
Yes.
so we're chairless, so it would be the Planning Commission that would recommend a chair to the council typically.
Okay.
Correct.
Well, I just kind of, you know, we're waiting for you to get your hierarchy built, and then let's go full steam. And
So we'll check in with, like I said, we'll check in with Planning Commission and Parks Commission and see what their first thoughts are on this process, this plan, and see if it's something we want to move forward with or not. And maybe we say it's not even worth moving forward anything with at this point. And, you know,
Right.
I don't want to go down the whole list of things and get all the way to the end and we'll be like, oh no, we just wasted a bunch of 6
no,
months.
let's not have meetings on meetings.
I don't want to do any of that for anyone.
Right.
You know,
Agreed.
process. So
All makes sense. Anybody else? We're good? Okay, it's go time. Who wants out?
See
I'll make a motion.
We got a motion to leave, to adjourn.
Second.
hold on.
Second.
Who are you giving that to?
Dave.
Jack.
Jack got first. Who's
Jack
second?
got first, Dave got second, Sean got second.
Sean got second. Okay.
Sean.
There you go.
So motion carries. We are adjourned.